this went totally wrong. Now this interaction does occur between a bartender over in Missouri and what looks like an Air Force airman that's part of TAC P. Now let's read his Facebook post right here where he kind of gives the setup for this entire situation. Myself and 5 other military friends were at Lodo Lounge when this drunk bartender, Josh Wiedekamp, started to destroy someone's military ID because he used to be a cop and knows what an ID is supposed to look like, and bends our card and throws it in the trash, refusing to let us retrieve it and just leave. So he tells us to call the cops. If you can see, the blonde bartender is 1, urging us to call the cops, and 2, also calls the cops. I appreciate her efforts since she realizes that he is getting out of hand. I've never had been more heated about a non-racial interaction with someone and the straight disrespect he had fellow service members, especially when none of us, if not all, joined the military because of 9/11 and how it shaped our upbringing. I hope you see this, Josh Wiedekamp, and know that your actions that night will define you as a person. Action always speak louder than words. And so you guys can see the video. Here it is.
It's a real ID.
I don't understand what you're saying. Dude, it's all real.
Okay. Let me call my boys that have been to Afghanistan.
We've been to Iraq and Afghanistan.
Dude, you don't even look old enough to know about 9/11.
You're so right.
Get the fuck out of my house. Get the fuck out of my house.
He needs his ID.
Well, yeah, you are. This one's fake.
What are you doing, man?
Get the fuck out of here. No, you can't. It's a fake ID. No,
That's government property.
It's going in the trash. Well, if it's government property, then call them in here, and we'll find out if it's government property. What's a barcode? We'll find out.
I don't even know.
What's that? I know y'all get military this time. Yeah, we do, but you can't scrape the front off of military IDs.
It's laminate, man.
Military IDs are real IDs. They're UV protected. They're not laminated. Well, let me see yours. I will. Make sure you tell them to send someone up here that has a military ID.
Alright, we'll stop right here because as you can see, he's peeling away that like laminate layer that does go over the top of the card. I'm not going to show you mine because that's not allowed and I don't want you guys to screen cap any of that, but I will tell you it does have this like layer on top of the actual card itself, and it's kind of interesting that so many people don't accept this card because the fact that it is a very secure card. B, the information that's on that is pretty extensive. But there is also official guidance from the Common Access Card website which says this: any person willfully altering, damaging, lending, counterfeiting, or using these cards in any unauthorized manner is subject to fine or imprisonment or both, as prescribed in sections 499, 506, 509, 701, and 1001 of Title 18 United States Code. Now, I actually did go look at the Department of Justice as well, which does touch base on this destruction of government property and says this: the penalties for violations of this sections are tied to the extent of the property damage as amended on September 13, 1984. If the damage exceeds $100, the defendant is subject to a fine of up to $250,000, 10 years imprisonment, or both. So he could be in some pretty hot water. He does mention that this card is only $35. You throw some ballpark out there, but this could easily be very much more than $35 if he does get fined.
Hey, let's come in our uniforms tomorrow and have a good old time about it.
Oh yeah, I can buy those. I can buy those in the store up in Jeff City too.
So yeah.
And you can press charges against me if you want. That's fine. I'll give you my ID. That's real. And I'll tell you exactly what my name is when the cop shows up. And so what's that going to cost me? $30 to replace your military ID. Somebody who hasn't even served my country for doing shit. You do a lot more push-ups than me. That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. You do a lot more push-ups than me. What have you done for this country since World War II? Nobody. And also, don't serve minors in my bar. Get the fuck out.
So this wraps up the first video that is posted about this guy that is the bartender. We'll get to that. You know, this Josh guy might not be the smartest, but you could be. Just like the video, show some support if you like what we're putting out here. We appreciate it. Thank you. But he doesn't give them any credit. He's like, cool, you've done a lot of push-ups. Cool, you know, you guys haven't done anything since World War II. But in the beginning of this video, he said he had buddies that were in the military and actually went to Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm like, so these guys told you they were too, and you're trying to discredit them. They had the same experience. This guy's TAC P. I also love how they're like, we joined because 9/11 during this. And you can tell these guys are not the most junior people. They've been in the military for a hot minute, and they're not the newest boots off the block. Yes, they may not have served in Iraq or Afghanistan for most people that have come in, but is that their fault? Should we be in a continuous combat situation. I just find that an invalid argument here because you're looking at a war that has dwindled down over the past decade at least, where the people that are deploying are very slim. But there is a second video.
You said you could peel these off too. Wait, what can you peel off? You want to peel some off of that? Here, peel some off of that. See if you can peel some off of that. That's my social security card. I'll give you my library card. Peel some off of that. You're telling me that my Missouri ID card is more secure than a military ID?
It's not secure because there's no shipping. Don't worry. It's not even.
What do you mean it's not secure because there's no shipping?
It's not even a comment.
Yeah. What do you mean there's no security because it's not shipping?
Because obviously state IDs, you will apply for them and then they're like, hey, we're going to ship this to you in so many days or weeks. You get that, and there is a continuous picture that's there, right? So I do see how he saw that as a more, I should say, confirmatory bias to say that that is more legitimate, but, you know, he didn't really understand these common access cards and how legit they are. I do have to ask too, if you work at a bar and you're near a military base or you've had military friends, you would think that you might actually know this. I'm a little surprised that somebody wouldn't show you various IDs and be like, these are the things that we actually check for. These are security features that are on this.
Yeah. Let me see your military ID right here. Yours right here.
Bro, you
let
ready?
the cops
Show.
I ain't touching it. Let the cops come in here and let them touch it.
Buddy.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I want you both checked by the cops before you guys leave here. Beautiful.
And even when they prove it, he won't say sorry because he's that angry about it.
No, I won't. I'll still take you guys to the on my bar. We've had 2 giant groups of minors come in there the last 2.
How's it going, sir? How's it going?
Buddy, hey. Where's this ID at?
It's in the trash.
Right there.
Are you working here?
Oh, I am. Oh, no. Have you been in the military, sir?
Yes.
Can you tell me if you can peel off the front of a military ID?
Yeah, actually, I remember mine being laminated, so.
Has she shown you her actual ID where the birth date is raised at the bottom right corner? Her birth date is raised in the bottom right corner.
He's got it. He's got that. All right, dog. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks a lot.
I love how he's like, even if I'm proven wrong, I'm going to die on this sword, no matter what. And this whole time, there are people that are out there saying, why don't these service members just leave? That is government-issued property that they are in charge of. Who knows what this person or this bartender was going to do with it? He could try and manipulate it. He could try and get data off of it. He could try and reproduce it. You should never leave this ID with anybody. That's why it's such a big deal if you leave this card in your computer and you walk away or anything like that. I have to say they did the right thing by staying there, trying to stay calm and wait for the police officer. His affiliation with this bar gets very murky. That's because this member is part of the Ryan Voss Band, which is a live performance act that does perform at this bar, and it looks like he's not even an employee at the bar, but the band has released a statement. To my friends, family, and fans, I would like to start by saying that I'm completely disgusted by the actions of a now former member of my band. It should go without saying that such blatant disrespect to our great nation would ever be tolerated. It's taken me a few days to process everything, and I would like to apologize for the delay in my statement. I was only making sure this issue was handled in the most appropriate manner, which was to release said band member as well as removing any and all association. If there's one thing I was lucky enough to take away from growing up near a large military base, it's the pride I have in my country, our military, and its troops. The words he spoke have no reflection on what this band believes or stands for, nor do we condone these actions. Furthermore, I would like to extend the most sincerest apology to the folks who took offense to his statements. This band will always be a big supporter of our military, and I hope that message is conveyed clearly with this statement. The sacrifices that are made daily for my freedom isn't something I take lightly. In conclusion, I would like to thank everyone that texted or called to show their support for me and the band during these difficult times. This bump in our road isn't going to stop the ever-growing process this band makes. God bless America. And it does look like Josh has apologized for this, and he says this. I am truly sorry for my actions on May 2nd at Lodo Lounge. I would like to personally apologize to the group of soldiers that came into the establishment. I said some regretful, hateful things in regards to your service to the country, and I'm sickened by my own comments. It was a stupid, drunken mistake, and I would sincerely like to extend an apology to you and to anyone in the service that I upset. I will say the band did an amazing statement, but as far as Josh's statements, I would have probably never included the alcohol or had that as a factor factor. It's unfortunate because now the Lodo bar might have a negative connotation with it, which I hope it doesn't. And whoever is, there that does have good business, and obviously if you look at their reviews, they are a stand-up organization. It does look like this band is looking to continue forward. There are some critical questions to draw from this. How is Josh able to stand behind the bar? He does have close links with this Lodo bar, by the way, from what it looks like. And what does that mean for the liquor license? Because when you look at this in the state of Missouri, in any state by that matter, employees, it says specifically, are able to serve alcohol. Josh is not an employee there. Not everybody in the military wants to thank me for my service. They just want the mutual respect. Like, they could have easily given it back and just said, go on your merry way. They could have said, let's see a state ID. They could have said, let's match it, not destroy this property and try and make a big fiasco about it. When you're in this circumstance, you have to bite your tongue. And I know that they did. They handled it well. And now this service member has to go get a brand new ID and explain the situation on why his ID is mutilated. I would just recommend anyone in the future in the military, I've seen this too often, like I said in the beginning, it gets confused understanding where the birth date's on the ID and looking at this and knowing the security features. State IDs, just use them, keep them valid as much as possible. I do know some states do allow expired driver's license, so I kind of understand that, but I'm just saying relying on that military ID can be a tough, difficult situation. But I'd like to know what you guys think about this video and your comments down below, because I do think there's other people that have experienced similar situations. And if you do have questions about this or anything else, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.
Just for tonight, I'll be Country Joe, you be my Janis Joplin. I may not be perfect, but it's perfect timing.